Welcome to Now's the Time by Ronnie Needham. We're going to make some rings tonight. We're going to teach you all things about rings. This is a thing we'll repeat the lesson several times. Each time you'll pick up some more and more tips on how to make rings. As we go through this, we'll teach you where to buy the tools. And I always like to have a couple of pairs of flats, round, half round, and cutters. I like Euro tool, but you can get some cheaper set of four pliers from Rio Grande. You just have to go on riogrande.com and you have to get an account. Once you get an account, you can order your tools and different kinds of wire. You can buy your gold filled wire, you can buy your artist wire, you can buy your solid gold. If you want to buy platinum and other things like that, we'll teach you different suppliers later. And when you make the rings, you want to make them for yourself or for gifts. If you're going to resell a ring, you might have a few $100s in a stone, a couple $100 in materials, or $300 or $400 in materials. And let's say you have $500 in a ring. You want to price it enough to where if you have to ship it, you're paying for the shipping. You're paying for your boxes where you can order your little ring boxes. And you want to give a really nice box, a wooden box. It doesn't matter if the box costs you $10. You want to give first class. Now, I built the largest wire crafting jewelry company. I was president of Ronaldo Designer Jewelry from 1992 to 2019. So I know about how to structure a business. So over this next month, we're going to teach you A to Z how to be in business for yourself or how to make things for a craft fair. But the first and most important lesson is when you make your products, don't sell them cheap. If you're ever going to grow, you have to figure out that you're going to have employees. And it's called production value. If an employee can only make one ring every 3 hours, and you're paying him $20 an hour labor, or $25 for skilled work, or $30, you got $100 in labor. Plus, you're going to have a building if you want to have a building, or if you're just building by yourself in your home at the beginning. But you want to structure your products to where if you do grow, and that's your desire to be a business for yourself, you know the structure of how to construct your business. You have your phones, your security system, your rent, all these things combined, plus your employees. And then you have to pay Social Security match and a lot of overhead. But for those who really want to be in business from A to Z, we'll teach you the ins and outs, how to create your own business structure and how to create the right formula. So first thing we're going to teach you is we picked out a stone for a lady. Her finger is a 9.5, and you can buy a little bitty caliper and a Gem 20. This calibrates itself, and you can buy these on Amazon for around $25. I got some more expensive ones, but this is a really good one. It measures in grams. So you lay the stone on here, and the stone comes out to 2.36. So you just take the 2.36 times 5. Now this is a very, very nice iolite mine. Iolite comes from Tanzania, on the opposite side of the mountain from where you find tanzanite. So to convert from grams to carats, you take the 2.36 on your calculator, 2.36 times 5, and it's 11.80, almost 12 carats. Now if it comes out, my other machine will measure out to the 100, so it would be like 11.815. But this is accurate enough to where you can say, okay, 11.80. So that's 2.34 actually on the machine here. So let's redo it again. 2.364 times 5. It's 11.82. So we would have undercut ourselves by a little bitty bit. Now, you want to buy natural stones. You want to practice on lower expensive stones. Let's say you want to practice on some smoky topaz. I recommend ovals first, and then later on you can get into the step cut or the emerald cut stones. The table's the top of the stone, and you want a flat table. And a step cut, around the edge of the table, you have the crown cuts. You want a nice crown cut at a 45. So what I'm going to do next is take this stone, and you see the girth. She's going to zoom in so you can see this stone. And you can see the thickness of the stone. I'm going to take and turn it sideways here. And I'm going to draw how the stone is laid out. So you can see this stone, this is the table. And you have this right here. We're going to put our wire right there, come straight down and come back in to the center. So we're kind of laying this out ahead of time, and I like to just draw them out like that. And I'm going to switch hands and finish the stone here on the opposite side. Alright, once we got the stone laid out there, then we're going to say, let's look at how many millimeters it is, and we want our prongs to be about 3 millimeters. The side is going to be 5. Coming in around the edge, it's going to be 5. That's 10, that's 13, and we add 2 for the bends. We're going to bend it right here and right here. I'm going to put little stars right there. Okay? So we're adding 2 millimeters. It's not complicated. I do have a chart made out for you and how to lay these things out. And we're going to mark down 15 millimeters here on the ruler. Make a little mark. And we're going to convert the millimeters to 1/8 of an inch, so it's 5/8. So we want our tips to be 5/8 long. So we're going to take, next we're going to lay out 6 inches. Or let's lay out 6.5 inches. We're going to draw a mark. And if you have a hard time reading a ruler, we're going to teach you how to read the ruler. We're going to go to 3 1/4. It's going to be our center. For a size 8.5 or 9.5 ring, in between in the center here, I'm going to come out a total of 1 1/8 inches. So I want this little center part to be 1 1/8 inches with the center here. Okay, we're exactly. So here's the center. This is the center, 3 1/4. So we're going to go 9/16 this way, 9/16 that way. It's going to give us 1 1/8 inches. Don't worry, I will send you little templates where you can download. This is already built for you. It's going to take a while. I mean, this is a really good art, but we're going to teach it. So next thing we're going to do is allow 3/16 for the 4 wraps. And then 5/8 for the prong. And I'm darkening in the 3/16 so you can see it. That's the 4 wraps, and you'll see those later on about the ring. much easier when these templates are already built for you, but it's nice to know exactly how to do it. So we laid it out, again, 6.5, divided by 2 is 3.25, 9/16 and 9/16 this way and this way is 1.25 inches. So that whole distance right there is 1.25 inches. 3/16 for the wraps, 3/16 for the wraps, and 5/8 for the prongs. These are all going to end up being prongs. So now we're going to take our wire, and when you buy an ounce at a time, I buy 100 ounces at a time of different materials. So no matter what grade materials, even if you want to practice on practice brass, it's good. You'll find that every time you build a ring, your skill grows. And you want to take 2 fingers. This comes off of a press. They use roller presses or draw plates to make the wire. And you use 2 fingers to stroke it. In other words, you want this straight, so as you're going out, you're stroking this. When you heat up the wire, it becomes more malleable, easier to play with. So we're going to come out here, 6.5, we're going to cut it. And we're going to use this one here as the measuring device for the others. And we're going to once again make number 2. You don't want to waste any of the wire. It's all recyclable, it's all expensive, so you want to make sure that you have a little jar and you recycle, and I can tell you where to send it to. So we're going to stroke it like this with some pressure. And let's let her come in this time and see a close-up of me stroking the wire. I'm going to do it real slow. Pressure with the thumb, and 2 to keep it straight. Pressure with the thumb, 2 to keep it straight. I'm just drawing it through those fingers, or I'm using the fingers and sliding. Won't take you long to get used to making the wire come out straight. Now your fingers, this petroleum jelly is going to make your fingers dirty. Don't worry about it, because later on when we build this ring, we're going to clean it. But they have to do that so that when this is hot, one strand doesn't stick to the next when it comes off the press. You can buy the wire in any kind of material that you want. Usually you can buy it by the ounce, by the inch, or by 10 ounces, 100 ounces, however you want. You're going to get about 4 rings out of an ounce of materials. I like to use 20 gauge. It makes it stronger than a 21 gauge. And there's quite a bit of difference in a 20 gauge ring and a 21 gauge ring. Now, some people say, oh, the 20 gauge is harder to work with, and I got used to using the bigger material. I just think it makes a nicer ring that'll last several hundred years. I really like to do quality. So you have to remember, this is all I ever did. I was a workaholic. Unfortunately, that's all I ever did, was take and build jewelry and work all the time. All right, now we have all 6 wires. We're going to move this out of the way for temporary. We're going to come back in here, and we're going to go to 3.25, and we're going to put a little brace wrap. Now you can use your material, and when you make a wrap, you offset it a little bit, but taking a 45 and turning it. This lets it lay down straight. If you folded it straight behind itself, you wouldn't be able to put your wraps on straight. They would go crooked. So a long time ago we learned that you had to offset that a little bitty bit. So we're gonna come in here with a close-up. You're gonna see we're gonna take half a cylinder. Here's straight. We're gonna turn it into a 45, this angle right here. And we're gonna turn it like this. Turn it like that. That's gonna make this offset ever so slightly. And you can see If you get in close enough, you can see that this is not behind it. It's actually offset a little bit. Let her zoom in really, really close there. And we're back. We're going to put this wire in the center. Along this wire here, I'm going to put a little red arrow on it here so that you can see it. Okay, we're going to go from that center, we're going to go out and mark this first mark here, second mark, and the length of the prong. So I'm going to put 3 arrows here. First, second, and third. And don't worry, we have another camera where we can actually do this up close. So now we're going to take and build the first prong, and we're going to come in here and we're going to fold a little bit above the red mark, about 1/16 of an inch, so that when we fold this and squeeze it behind itself, it's making the prongs the correct size. And by folding it behind itself, I actually mean folding it to the side of itself. And you'll see that after a while, when you do this, you know that once you fold it, this is going to be your prong. And we're going to take some half round wire and we're going to put on our 4 wraps. And we do 1, fold over to the second wrap. Now let's measure and make sure before we put this in tight that it all looks good. And we can make a slight adjustment here on 1 prong. We like to make our prongs nice and straight and even. Even if it's just a 1/64 of an inch, we like to do that. So we're going to go 3, 4 wraps around. And as we're folding this around the wires, we're folding 1 thumb holding, 1 finger, and here in our fingers. And we're folding around like this. As you see it over and over, you'll get it. We'll be putting these on YouTube when you get your materials, and you can learn to make names or you can learn to make other things. Then we're going to take and cut that little wire off. Now when you cut that off, you only want to go about halfway into that wire so you don't cut the next wire off the side of it. We're going to remeasure that prong, and that prong is just right at 5/8 on the other side of the line, ever so slightly, so we're happy with that. We're going to come out and do the next one. Same way. We're going to mark it, mark the distance, and mark all 3 marks again. So we have 1 prong, another prong built. We're going to build the opposite side now, so we put the 3 marks on there. So when we go in here, we're going to go a little bit above the red line. The thickness of the wire is what I like to go above the line. So when I bring this around, I bring it around to here, I scoot my pliers over some. We'll come in so you can see me. Not right here, because the thickness of the pliers will make it a bigger bubble there, and that'll make your prongs grow shorter. So we got that in there, the thickness of the wire above the red line. So when you bend it, now as you're bending it, if one side looks a little bit longer than the other, here's how you fix it. Instead of having out here, you go in closer, so when you bend that, it sucks some of that last tip in. That way you can control, and all the prongs will be the same. You can see these are exactly the same length. Okay, so we got that. We're going to measure the 5/8. Put our mark back because my finger erased the mark. And we've constructed the ring blank. We're going to take and set this onto the half round onto the ring. And we're going to make sure we like it. Next time we'll do tomorrow night from the rear, from the opposite side, so you can see a little different way to do it. We're going to cut it. We're going to measure again, make sure that we like it. Ever so slightly. And you just slide it down just a tiny, tiny little bit. Now use my prong to be able to pull it a little bit. Let's see. Oh, that looks really good. I like that. Just a hair over the 5/8. All right, we're happy with that. One final little adjustment there. We're going to cut that off on each side, put the scrap in here. So let's zoom in here close. We're going to take off the wrap, and we're going to let that lay over there. We'll use that again and again and again. And this is what we've made. We've made the prongs. On the back, we're going to take and straighten where I taught you to bend those over at a little angle. So the front straight. We're going to come in here on the ring mandrel. You can get you a set of ring mandrels and different ones like this from eBay for around $20. We're going to go to the middle, and we're going to just fold around. Ever so slightly. Now we're going to take and use our half rounds to just step this and make sure that both sides are nice and symmetrical, nice and even. Excuse me just for a second, I'm going to get a rubber mallet. And sometimes when you bend the 20 gauge, it will be a little stepped. So what we do, we put it back into the mandrel, like this. And we just step it around. And voila! There you go. So now we're going to take and lift one from each side. See what we had? We made the U. We're lifting one from each side up. there you go. There's going to be your ring right there. See what we built so far? Okay, let's come in here now and stretch this out a little bit. And you can just go back and forth like this. And what that's doing is pulling it down. So we're going to take the size 9.5. And you want to use a really thick ring mandrel. If you buy one of the little plastic ones or one of the little metal ones like these, they're not die cut. So if you're measuring somebody's finger, use a thick one. And don't let it be like this because you'll get a false reading. Hold it and slide the finger in and out. So we want a 9.5. So we're going to come in here on the ring mandrel, and we know where my thumb is. We have to go up that far. My thumb's up here. Now I'm just rotating this around and pushing it down. I'm drawing it out a little at a time, or you can use your mallet to pull it out. Now we're going to put a little mark here. As you start going around this, here's the big secret. You're going to take your half rounds, you're going to put it in here where the bottom of the ring is, and we're going to open this up a little bit like this. We're just opening the ring up a little bit. Okay? As we open the ring up, we're getting our shape fine-tuned. We're going to go to this type of ring pole. Now this ring pole is going to be more accurate. We're going to go to the 9.5 on here, and we're going to go past it a little bit to the very edge of the 10. When we wrap the shank, it's going to eat up a half a size on the ring. There's only a slight difference, a few thousandths of an inch. We're going to take, while this is on here nice and flush on this one side, it's a tapered pole, we're going to take and mark this with your marker. Don't do the ring without marking it. It can grow on you by accident. If that mark disappears, you know it's slid back in there or something's happened to it. Use your thumb to push it back out. Check, make sure both sides has the red mark on it right here. Okay, now we're going to cut 16 inches of the half round. It's going to take 16 inches to wrap that shank. And I buy this 100 ounces at a time also. And I'll have them spool it, usually 5 or 10 ounces at a time. We're going to take and repeat the process. We're going to go in here, 45, flip it around. So what that's doing, let's just show you with a piece of paper. I know it's like if you were here and I was teaching you, it'd be a lot easier. But we'll get there together. So let's just say this is that half round blown up real big. If you fold it directly behind itself, it will not let you lay the laces down straight. They'll go like this. So you have to make that first piece fold over at a little offset by that angle. So on the back side, your wire is a little bit crooked. It makes the front side straight. So when you come the next time around here, it's going to make the back crooked, the front straight. You'll understand when you do it a time or two. And don't be mad at yourself with the first one. You just fold it without the little tip sticking out. And you're going to be like, oh, that's what he talked about. And now on a bracelet, it makes a difference. And if on your ring, wrapping your shank, it's not going to be so tellable. Check. It's still there. All right, now we're going to fold it around, squeeze, push through, pull it through. Use your thumb. Be careful, the side can cut you if you scrape it on the sides, because this is sharp. The gold is sharp. I like to use my half rounds. I keep them in my fingers like this. And I'll pinch it here, push it through. Never build a ring without wrapping the shank. This is going to make this shank last 200 years. I like to over deliver so the quality goes in before the name goes on. It's not taking you that much longer to make a lifetime customer. A lot of our artists may skip that step, say, oh, it takes too long to wrap that shank. It doesn't cost that much more to make that shank last forever. And I just think the ring is a lot stronger, a lot prettier, a lot better. So again, charge a premium price. Doesn't matter what anybody out there is selling rings for in America. Jim Fowler taught me to make rings, and my father in 1993 or 4, he was the best war ring maker in America. And Preston Rutherford is one of the best. He's a good friend of mine. But we all agreed a long time ago that when you wrap a ring shank, you're over delivering and you're making a fine product. So be real conscientious on your quality of what you do. Now, let's say that you'd like to learn to make rings. Rings are more advanced. There's not a lot of competition out there in America on rings because they take so long. Make them great. Make them good. If you make yourself $300 or $400 profit off each ring, that's great. And you sell 10 a month, you make $3,000 or $4,000 a month. You can make a good living making rings without hiring and without marketing, without going on the road and all these kind of things. We'll show you how to create a different business for eBay, for Etsy. There's 10 different websites you can put stuff on, 10 different people who market. In one program, Vendu can do all 10 at one time for you. But these take a long time to make. Make 5, 6, 7, 8 of them before you ever sell any to anybody else. Make sure that you do it all correctly. So again, don't make a ring and work 3 or 4 hours and say, oh, I'll mark it up $20. That is good for a hobby. I teach you family and friends, especially family. Don't make them for family. Don't sell them to family. No matter what you do, if you give them a discount, they still think you're making a lot of money on it. And if you go and you take my Now's the Time Module 1, out of my 44 Secrets to Success, the things that I learned from all kinds of millionaires, from Oz Hibbs, Danny Hibbs, Og Mandino, Jay Abraham, Tony Robbins, Larry Hahn, all these different people, Jay Abraham especially. One thing that you learn, don't do business with relatives. Don't do business and have your friends work for you. If you build you a factory, then keep it all business. You don't go out to the ball games, go drinking with your workers, or they become your friends. And friends will take advantage of you. You can look in the Bible, and I can give you the different passages where it's all laid out on how to do business. Now, I tell everybody, I like to read 10 pages in the Bible every day. And you do that, you'll read the Bible twice a year. And the Bible is the greatest book for business ever created. I have a friend today who's filming. And she's like, oh, no, that's too expensive. And I said, no. I said, you're a good person. And she helps me all the time. And she volunteers to help the school. I won't mention her name, but she does work for children. Every week for years. A couple of days a week she's helping children. And she's like, but that costs too much. And I said, what did it cost you to go help the children? So when somebody does something good, God sends back a little reward. So when you can afford it and somebody helps you, just say, hey, keep it between me and you. But this one's on me because you help the kids. Or you're always the one who's volunteering to go pick up all the kids for Sunday school, whatever the case might be. But remember, as practice, when you're building your business, do not have your family and friends work for you or work with you. One thing I like to always tell everybody is don't tell anybody where you buy your raw materials. Don't tell anybody what it cost you for the stones. Don't tell anybody what it cost you to build the ring. Because your friends, you can say, don't tell anybody. They're going to tell everybody. Oh, well, he's only got $300 in that ring and he's charging $700 for it or whatever. People get jealous. Whenever you start growing, it's like this. Let's say that I'm an alcoholic and I go drinking every year with a bunch of my high school friends on Friday night. Well, I'll go out and get drunk. Well, all of a sudden something changes in my life and I don't drink anymore and I say, oh, I'm trying to quit. Oh, no, you don't have a problem. It's okay to go slug down a few. When you start telling people that you want to grow, they get nervous. You're the drinking buddy. And if you try to do better, they want to keep you where you are so they have somebody to BS with at the bar on Friday nights and talk about how bad the world is. If you outgrow that, then you're growing past them. And so it's very difficult when you have friends and your friends find out. I tell everybody, if you're going to quit drinking, don't tell anybody. If you're going to quit smoking, don't tell anybody. If you're going to quit, whatever, overeating or eating, or don't tell anybody. If you're going to go exercise, don't tell anybody. Just do it. Pretty soon everybody will say, well, wow, you look better. I've been working a little. And don't brag about it. Just keep it to yourself. When you're 20, 30 pounds skinnier and you don't drink anymore and you're happier, instead of spending time with the guys at the bar, you're spending time with the wife or the girlfriend, you'll be happier. So on my course, now's the time you can go to Now's the Time LLC. The module sells for $630. Enter the code TikTok. You save a lot of money, a tremendous amount of money. When you take that new life skill, I'm going to show you the motivation on how to rewire your brain for success. Successful relationship, a brand new skill that will make you a lot of money. What if you can take and remember everything that you read and you can do it faster, 2 times, 3 times faster than anybody else? It makes you very valuable in your company, or very valuable if you want to learn a new skill like building a paver patio, drywalling, putting in some plumbing. So these new skills can save you a lot of money. And with the prices now of having a repairman come and put on a new door or put new gutters in your house, think how much you'd save if you learned to do those things yourself. Tremendous amount of money. Okay, so right now, before I cut this, I'm going to put this on my finger and I'm going to visually look at it. And if I want to make it a little more round, I'm going to give it this kind of movement. That's stretching it outward right here. For making a lot of rings, I just know that this right here, I'm using my finger to push the prongs in and turn. What I'm doing is making these wraps line up right there. And I'm doing it slowly, a little bit at a time. I'm coming around. That one movement right there will save you a lot of heartache. Now, if you see that it has a little flat spot, hold your fingers here, work the spot out like that. Go like that, and it's going to stretch it out here, okay? And you'll see these kind of movements. Now we're going to put this on. This happens to be the same size. Oh, that's near perfect right there. I like that. I like a good ring. I like the way it fits. I like that. All right, we're going to come in here. We're going to cut this in half right here. We're going to smash that down in here. And I'm going to bring it back up a little bit. I decided I want to cut off a little bit more. Where it's about in the middle of, you have 4 wires. So I had a little bit too long, so I'm going to bring it back to 2 wires and cut it off right there. Then I'm going to take a little file. Now if you have a Dremel with a little rouge wheel on the end of it, but you want to nick out here and you just drag it like this and file down any sharp edges like that. When you have your rings, you're going to make sure there's no sharp edges. Normally I use a Dremel, but I like to show people in case you don't have it. Even an old fingernail file will do. I feel like this. Looks good, looks good. Okay, now we're going to bring this up here. We're going to hold our thumb on it like this. We're going to bring those 4 wires up, and we're going to bend them backwards a little bit. Make sure those prongs are tilted in. We're going to separate these 4 wires, and we're going to take our pin vise and we're going to diamond cut the wires. I like to use this pin vise right here. This is my favorite pin vise. I don't even know if you can buy these anymore. I've had this one for a long time. I like to stick it in here, unscrew it a little bit, stick it in about halfway, tighten it up where it'll still slide a little bit. I'm putting my fingers up here to act as a buffer so I don't twist the prong off. Without that as a buffer, it can transmit all the energy to the very end and twist that off. So we don't want to twist that off. We're going to put our fingers in here. And I use the light that it produces. So when you have a light here, 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 as you're twisting it, the light starts being equal. I like to make it about 15 twists to an inch or so. I just know from that light right there that I like the way it looks. Alright, we're going to go to the second one. We're going to do the next one now. After a while, you'll be able to start at the very top and let it go all the way down. And it'll tighten up. It'll look nice. Now what this is going to be the parts that hold the stone and seal the prongs around that stone. It's going to be the things that anchor that ship right in place. Alright, so we're coming in here. We're going to twist it. This is called diamond cutting with a pin vise. Now some people might teach you to tighten it down, untwist, back it up. I like to just put it in here where it slides ever so slightly. It's not going to hurt it at all. It's not going to cut into the gold wire. And again, I'm keeping my fingers here so that I don't spin that off and break one of those prongs off. Now if you ever break a prong off, I can show you exactly what you can do about it. And you can still save the ring because you need 2 on each side, so 4 tie the stone in, and 2 are for decorations or emergency use. So when I'm building this, I build in that safety factor, and believe me, I did it before too. So then I came up with that safety factor in case I have a few hours into a project and I twist a prong off, I don't have to start all over and be frustrated. Now let's say you do twist a prong off. Don't be angry, don't cuss, don't be frustrated. Here's what you do. In my class I teach this. When things go wrong, and they sometimes will, when all things seem like it's going uphill, that's when you love it. That's when you like it, because you know when it's tough. If you can survive the tough times, you can survive anything. So when you're an artist and you're making something and you goof it up, just say, hey, I'm sure Michelangelo didn't make it perfect the first time. I'm sure Michelangelo didn't make it perfect the second time when he's learning to sculpt in marble and make veins. It's part of the learning process. So turn the negative around in your mind and say, hey, gotta pay my dues. Gotta pay my dues. And it'll make it easier because the frustration is still going to be there. But in other words, you can control your attitude, and how high you control your attitude is how high the altitude of your success. So I tell everybody, being an artist, you only have to conquer 8 inches. I'm like, 8 inches? I said, yeah. The difference between Michelangelo and you is 8 inches. I said, how's that? I said, the 8 inches between here and here. God gave everybody the same abilities, and different people bring those abilities out. In truth, God made little boys and little girls, and we all make ourselves different things. And we're all gifted at some things, but we can all learn anything that we want to. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take and make the prongs. We're going to come in here with our half rounds. We're going to let the very top stick out. We're going to give it a turn like this. And we're making that prong. So on the back prongs, you're going to turn it sideways here so you can see it. We're all making the same prongs, the same length. And I've got a little baby girl outside crying. She's wanting in, so I better let the little baby in because she just doesn't know anything other than, where's my daddy at? So her name is Gracie, and she's very needy. Let's bring in the star of the show. Come on in, Gracie. Come on, Gracie. Come here, Gracie. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. And you know, she likes to be around her daddy, and she just like, I want to help make the rings, Daddy. And I even cut her hair. And so I've got 2 of them. I've got Gracie, and I think the other one's out there crying now. No, it's not. Her sister, her twin sister is named Lucy. Actually, not twins, but her sister. Okay. Now we know that we have this amount here, the length of 1 bite. We're going to put that underneath, and we're going to go 1 bite and come backwards. Underneath each one and come backwards. Underneath, come backwards. When you go underneath, go all the way up on those prongs. Underneath and come backwards. So as you can see, what we've got going on here now is something that looks like this right here. Okay. Now we're going to take and we're going to bring these prongs down. You can use pressure from here and push down, back up, pressure from here, push down. I'm just taking pressure and pushing down like that. Rotating down like that. We're going to turn it sideways here so you can see. Rotating down like that. Then we're going to take these prongs and we're going to fine tune them. I've broken prongs off before. I mean, I've did just about everything you can do to a piece of jewelry. As we're doing this, I'm going to look at the prongs, look at the tips, and make sure everything looks pretty even. Then I'm going to take and separate them a little bit with this type of tool. Pardon me, I had to scratch my eye. This type of tool. And as you go out, I'm going to twist them this way to make it back straight again. As you go out wide, you have to bring your prongs back facing the stone. Okay, let's see if that distance, if I'm happy with it. I'm going to lay the distance on here, and that distance is looking pretty good. Going to open the prongs up a little bit, go back a little bit. I'm going to put it in for a test drive on sitting it. Are you able to look through the camera every now and then and see if the stone's showing up good? Okay, good. Okay, sitting it, so we want to bring it down a little bit more. We're going to come in, we like the way it's sitting, we're going to come in a little bit more and come down. We're going to make our thing now the length into the center here, straighten and back down. We're extending these just ever so slightly, the thickness of the wire. And that's bringing it down closer and closer and closer to the oval. Now you can guess it if you want to go with one bend from the get-go. Again, this may all sound Greek now, but later on you'll see that this is a good way to do it. As we get longer, we have to make sure that we have the prongs. It's going to fit in there nicely. Okay, those prongs are fitting in there good. Okay, prongs are fitting in there good. Setting it down. Deeper into it. Deeper into it. Okay. If we're happy with that, let's give it one final test on seating this stone. This one here, we want to bend down a little bit more so it takes all that air out of that stone. And we're doing minute adjustments now to make sure that that stone is being locked in there. Okay. Minute adjustments. We're going to lock this in. And we like the way it's sitting in there. We're happy with 3 out of the 4 prongs. We're going to just adjust this one prong a little bitty baby bit. Now, it's easier to start out with the names first and then do pendants, but again, there's a lot of opportunity in building rings. Lots of opportunity in building rings. Doing some minute adjustments. Oval stones are a lot easier to do than prong set stones, but that's okay. We're going to come up and do the side ones now. Got to do all those little bends. Now we're going to take this first one, go around, and we're going to wrap it around this prong on the opposite side. And the next video will be from behind, so it might be easier from behind where you can actually see, not from so far away. Okay, we're not going to cut that off all the way. We're going to cut a little piece of it off. We're going to come around here. Be good if we had two cameras, one set up here where we could do a split screen. You could actually see up close to my fingers doing this thing, and then the front view. Okay, we're going to come in here, and you can see where here's the stone. As we cinch this tighter and tighter, that's going to be on the, here's the table, here's the crown cuts, the side, and then underneath. And we're going to have that thing just laced in there so good that it's going to be a tight fit. So now we're going to cinch it in a little tighter by going like this. And pulling down, pulling. Holding with your fingers like this. Excuse me. And pulling like that. Going to pull them tighter. All right, they're starting to get in there and get tight. Locking that stone. This thing's going to last for 200 years. Now, if you can do emerald cut stones or a step cut, then your ovals are easy. So I always say learn on these, because when you can get where these hold in there really good, then the other ones become a cinch. All right, now we're going to go back to the opposite side, come back over top of it, right here, come over top of it, wrap it around that prong and cinch it in. Okay? So we're going to go in right here, wrap it around this prong right here, and go. Going to cut about half of it off. Going to rotate this around like this little thing. Push it underneath. bend it around the corner here, and you're going to thread it through. Grab it, turn it around. Make sure the stone didn't slide out on you. From this side here, you're going to pick up and pull. Pick up and pull. Pick up and pull. Pick up again and pull. Pick up again. And this is starting to really tighten that thing down. Now this is how rings were made thousands of years ago. By the Phoenicians. And I see this probably want to adjust it just a little bit. We're going to lock down the fourth one. I'm going to cut off about this much. Leave this pretty long so I can just bend it around. We'll see if she can get in here pretty close. You can see me threading it around it. When I thread it around here and I can go on the inside, I can grab a hold of it. And if you can see, I can grab a hold of it and pull it up. There you go, and twist like that. Bring it in tighter and tighter and tighter. Well, this thing's in there pretty tight now. We like that. We like a nice, good fitting. Alrighty. We've got that in there pretty good, pretty tight. Now we're going to take and let's see what we're going to put in here. Let's put some diamonds in here. And I'm going to take 2 diamonds, fold this down like this. Now, we're going to give away a ring every month, and all you have to do is go to the website, the email actually, Ronnie at nowsthetimellc.com, and say I was watching you make the Eye ring on today's date. Put me in the drawing, and you can enter the drawing once a night, and every night we might be doing something different. And if you do 30 days in a row, you got 30 chances, and somebody else does it once, then they have 1 chance. You put all those into the machine, pops out 4,292. We see what entry that is. And if you want, then we're going to call and say, hey, we're going to make a ring for you. We call you. All right, we're looking for some of these sides. When I made these, I have to still go back through and take a reamer and ream it out a little bit. Put these diamonds in here. Okay. And we're going to pull that diamond all the way up to right here. We're going to press it and lay it down. We're going to go up in the air, up in the air. So we're putting that diamond on that side of that bad boy. Okay. So we're going to take this here. We're going to go in. We're going to take this and fold it around and lock it in just like we did the first time. Now I like to give extra value with putting diamonds, emeralds, rubies, sapphires, and things like that on my work. I just think that it makes the ring a lot nicer. It's worth more money. The customer is happier with more value. And I can show you where you can get the stones, where you can get the parts made from the diamonds, the emeralds, rubies, sapphires, whatever you might want to put into them. Alright, so we got that in there. We're going to cut that off. Cinch it around. We're going to do the other side too, the same way. Bring it up. When I bring it up, I let it go right underneath that stone, see? I'm going to cinch it around and down and through, just like I did before. I think it's really, for this quality of stone, this amount of materials, you're taking out all your materials up. And I think if you make a really great ring, if you mark it up $300 or $400, some people, it might take you 4 hours to make one ring. If you make a really good quality product, then that's okay. You might only be able to make 2 a day. But don't make $20 or $50 or $100 on them. Make sure you make a quality product where you can make a good product for the consumer. And you have to remember, when you're buying the stones at wholesale, you're able to save a lot of money for the consumer on the parts. And the stores are going to take this same ring and they're going to sell it for $1,200 to $1,500. And you look at machine-made stuff, look how much they were going to sell a handmade one at a time for. A fortune. Go get a custom ring built to where they're not pouring it, where they're actually having to beat it out and make it. You can't find anybody to do it. And if you do, you're going to pay $1,000 in labor. Just go call somebody and ask them to come over to your house and put a new door on your front door. See how much it costs you just to get a door put on. So this is a really good art, a really good value. Now, it doesn't matter about what people pay today. As your name grows, price is going to go up. And 50 years from now, 100 years from now, that ring's still going to be there. I'm going to have to work on some of these stones next time before I go to set something. And they're going to be there forever, for a couple hundred years in a family. So I like to give a nice box. I like to give a little document that shows who made it, when it was made. So that way, if you do become very famous 100 years from now, there's a history trail of who made this art. And then that ring's worth a whole lot more money. I'm sure the people who painted all the real expensive paintings didn't know that one day those paintings from Monet or Van Gogh would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe you're the next Van Gogh. Why not? Why not you? Who knows? Maybe you're the next Fabergé. Maybe you're the next one who revolutionizes and comes up with something totally awesome, totally beautiful in the jewelry art. Now this helps put a nice seat and hold that stone in place also. And if I'm going to sit that around the side a little bit, I'm going to use this kind of pressure right there. I'm going to cinch that down in there, make sure that nothing's sticking to anybody. I'm going to come up here. So now we've locked this stone in with 4 wires, 4 gold wires on each side. Isn't that great? I mean, what do you think you're going to make a ring now? And 200 years from now, they're going to take it on some show and they're going to say, oh, this is made by Susie Arnett back in 2030. Look what she came up with, you know? And look at this. Maybe all you do is make your girlfriends or your moms or your Christmas presents. Look how much money you save. It's a little bit easier learning, working on things on a hobby on the weekends and saving $1,000 on a ring or $1,500, you know? Well, there you go. Now we're going to take do a little side pressure on these here. A little side pressure on these outside bars here. Looks nice, looks really nice. Take a peek at that. Nice ring, in here nice and tight. And voila, a perfect 9.5. So, we thank you very much for today's lesson on how to make rings. Again, are rings hard? Yeah. Can you learn it? Absolutely. Can you have the confidence if you've never built anything? Absolutely. It's all learning. Do you have to be an artist? Not to start with. And when you learn to do a ring, you learn to do something hard, then to make the names is easier, to make the pendants and earrings is easier. But sometimes people like to start with something easy to get a little confidence. So I suggest you come to the name class and learn to make the names. You can learn to make the names and make a great living off just making names. Especially with today's names, you can't find all the new spellings of all the names. It's not like Mary and Elizabeth back in the 60s or 70s. It's different names now. So we can show you how to put rubies into the names, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires. And when you make a name, we do a really nice box. We do a really nice necklace. We don't give away a little $10 necklace. We give away a $100, $125 necklace because I know where to get them. And we do all this at an unreal price to where we can make the names out of the best quality lettering ever invented in the United States and give them a name, a necklace, and toss in my $630 class free. If you become a distributor like that, you can add all that value into your work. So thank you very much, and I'll leave you with one thing. We all are bent and broken somehow. All of our feelings have been hurt. We've all been bullied on the most part sometime in life by something. We might have been displaced by a hurricane or tornado, an earthquake, a flood. We might have lost a job. We might have had a loved one die in a car wreck or a loved one die from an illness. We all go through psychological things that hurt us. But now is the time to get okay. Now's the time to get happy. And I always like to leave you with this. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. I will, I will, I will. If you want to be an artist, all you got to do is wake up in the morning and say, I think I can. I know I can. I will, I will, I will. I will make my wife some jewelry. I will save some money. I will make her happy. And if you want to become an artist, you're there with me. You don't have to be in a rush. You can learn a little every night or a few nights a week. And then when you're ready, you can order your supplies. Not from me. I tell you where to buy them at. And you can start your career. So thank you. Until next time, this is Ronnie E. saying, y'all have a fantastic evening.